Turn it up.
No, shh. No, you already ruined it. Now he ruined it. Hello and welcome to Comic Book Wars, episode 25. Um, we're a podcast. It's a cool podcast. I'm Jimmy Linguini, obviously, of comicbookspeculation.com. Do you guys want to start introducing yourselves? Probably, let's start first with Weekend at Bernie's over there. What's going on?
Oh, why you gotta be like that?
Oh.
I'm Nico, I'm Nico, your weekend update correspondent with comicbookspeculation.com. I'm back from Baltimore, and I have contracted, I believe, the disease that started the outbreak in that movie Resident Evil
It was a video
from the
game.
people in Baltimore.
I don't think that's a fair thing to say, but
No, it's possible because last time I was in Baltimore, like a guy came up to me
They
outside
just
of
coughed
the
on me,
convention
dude.
and just said, "Hey, like, can you give me $1? I had to get my finger cut off today." And I swear to God, his finger was cut off. He was in a hospital gurney. It was crazy. I didn't give him any money, obviously, but I just thought it was so weird. That's Baltimore for you. I believe that you guys are from Baltimore.
Mel got better.
Whoa.
But yeah, we also are joined by Sleepy John.
Sleepy John,
In case you
a.k.a.
didn't know.
Tommy George, the commenting menace. I'm like the Noid. You can't get rid of me.
Could be. That's funny. But I don't know. We got a good podcast going. I think we should start though because I think we might like lose Weekend at Bernie's. How was Baltimore aside from that you got sick? Nico?
It was amazing. You know, so sometimes you do a number of small shows and you kind of feel like a moron for liking comics. Sales are lackluster, crowds are lackluster, and it can like wound your spirit. You know what I mean? And I live in an area that is comic book rich, but cash poor. You know, southeastern Ohio, West Virginia have been ravaged by drug addiction. Lots of like skilled labor jobs that have just kind of dried up. Coal mines, steel mills shutting down, and they're not like major metropolitan areas. Even places like Pittsburgh and Columbus and Cleveland, Cincinnati, you know what I mean? There's just not a lot of cash flying around at the smaller shows. Baltimore, by contrast, it exceeded my wildest expectations. I just took a handful of short boxes there and did an incredible amount of sales. My friend Rob with Moving Picture Comics was kind enough to afford me some space at his booth. And, you know, we were really fortunate. I met a lot of great people. You know, it's amazing for all of the like mediocre drama that infects so much of like these podcasts and you know, like the Facebook groups and the MeWe groups and all that
What drama?
nonsense.
What are you
There was
talking about?
just a really great vibe in Baltimore. People got along. Everybody just kind of had a shared purpose, and you know, I look forward to doing it again. It was worth being this sick.
Interesting. Okay. Did you get to dig around at all?
Yeah, so I didn't really get to do too much shopping the first day. The second day there, I picked up like just a handful of books. You know, I got a real good deal on a X-Men 14, I think, the first appearance of the Sentinels. The book was in such high grade that when I showed it to my buddy, he's like, "Is that trimmed?" You know, we like lined it up with another Silver Age book just to make sure. I mean, it's gorgeous. You just don't see books that are that old in that higher grade. Certainly not at the price tag that I picked it up at. And had similar luck picking up a Submariner 1, which was pretty cool. Moved a lot of big books. I was pretty excited about that.
Was that the one that you got graded on site?
Well, no, I graded a Submariner 1 on site.
Oh, okay. That was the one you bought at that other show.
Yeah, I
was
graded like I don't know.
Oh, here we go. Bring it in.
Hey.
Oh,
But had pretty good luck with the on-site grading. I really think there's truth to the fact that the most experienced graders grade Golden Age books. Kind of like the tried and true are grading Silver Age books, and the newer graders are grading Modern Age books. I didn't have a lot of success. I had some with my Modern Age books. The Silver Age and Golden Age books exceeded my expectations. I think the grades on the modern books were very fair. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't get the benefit of the bounce that I was kind of hoping for. Overall, I certainly did. There were a lot of hard feelings, though, about the graders, this year in Baltimore, at least from some of the other guys that were slamming a ton of books. They shared horror stories. You never can tell. I didn't get a chance to kind of like examine these books to see if it was just hurt feelings or, belly aching.
true that.
Yeah, all of the above. Your books are always going to grade better than you think than they come back, Then every once in a while you get one that comes back higher and you're like, oh, I wasn't thinking that was going to happen.
I had really exceptional luck.
Yeah,
absolutely. For the record, Nerdbox Comics on Facebook pressed my books. They did an exceptional job.
Okay.
An exceptional job. That's Keith and his buddy Sean, who, John, you've met in person, and Jim, you're of course familiar with Keith from the podcast. But they just did a phenomenal job with the, dozen and a half books that I sent to them.
Good deal. Good stuff. Yeah. What was the best comic you saw there? You sent a picture of a couple, I think.
Well, highest value books. There was a really nice Cap 3 that sold for $65K. The buyer was going to crack and press, realign and resubmit. That just takes King Kong balls to do something like that. But it was gorgeous. There was a startling 49 that was actually at the booth that I was at. The Bender comic. Right. That was a 7.0 that moved.
You didn't end up buying that one?
I'm not at liberty to say what it sold for.
But you didn't end up buying that one?
It's not in my possession. No.
Oh, okay. The price that you said it was, it makes sense not to buy it. But I don't usually respond to your buy this messages because usually the answer is yes, and you don't buy them. So I don't.
He doesn't buy it.
Yeah. Why is there gotta be all this hate?
No, there's no hate. There's no hate. You always say you always send us messages like, should I buy this? The answer is almost always yes, but then you never end up buying them. So that's all I'm like. That's why I just stopped responding. Well,
I generally buy them.
Well, you should have bought that one, but whatever. It's okay.
I did not have that much cash at that point in time. I do now, but I missed it. Okay. But it's hard to it's hard to put together that kind of large sum of money
for digging.
Right there in the moment.
Yeah.
Nevertheless,
unless you're giving it to somebody who's apparently gave you a cold.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like somebody gave you a cold.
Yeah. Well.
Yes, I also went to a con on the weekend. It was the Hamilton Comic Con. It was at the Canadian War Museum or something. There was a bunch of airplanes there, and the con sucked. So that's my con recon for you. I hope that was just as exciting.
Yeah, that was an amazing recap. Thank you.
Yeah, I should have the pictures ready. John messaged me on Sunday, and I sent him one picture of an airplane. And they
Yeah,
didn't respond. And I'm like, yeah. I mean, nobody should respond to messages and pictures of airplanes. I agree.
not sure what to do with that one.
But you're going to go back to Baltimore next year, Nico?
Absolutely.
And do you think you're going to set up again like you did this year?
No question about it.
And
Wow.
like, you think you're depressed right now?
No,
You're just really
I've got a
tired?
cold. I'm not really tired. I have like con flu. Dude, you like shake hands with everybody.
I don't.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like no matter how much Purell you use, everybody, you know what I mean? Somebody puts out their hand, you can't just be like, hey, let me give you the fist
You
bump.
gotta put Purell in your eyeballs.
I just
Dude,
pretend like
and
I
then,
just pretend like I don't
the
have peripheral
con
vision.
smells like, you know how like a nursing home smells like death,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right? The con smells like death by day
Yeah.
2. Like
yeah.
it's literally nauseating.
Try to go to the
And,
bathroom like 2 hours after the show starts.
Yeah, I'd
That
pass.
con is
That's a
garbage.
hard
Like,
pass.
cons are garbage.
Yeah, and I was really happy with the hotel I stayed at. Although the hotel itself was a dump, it was right across the street.
Which one did
Certainly
you stay at?
the Hyatt, which is
never
way too
stayed there.
expensive.
I
But
don't remember which one that was.
You should have stayed at the Days Inn. That was a good
Or the
spot.
or the Brookshire.
The Berkshire.
yeah, I'm not staying in either of those dive hotels.
Because the
But
Brookshire has the pictures of like the lady from Mamas and the Papas, and then it also has pictures of Frank Zappa in some of the bedrooms for no reason.
wow,
I feel like that's the real Baltimore experience is the Frank Zappa pictures.
wow.
With the lady from Mamas and the Papas.
Yeah. Yes. Well, good stuff. I hope to be
I
able
feel
to
like
go
I feel like we
again
might
next
all go
year.
next year.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
It depends on how many passes you can get, of course.
Yeah. How many can you get? You
I'm
gonna buy a
sure
whole table yourself?
No question about it.
What's that running? Like 800?
I think it's $1,000, but I could be wrong.
Whew.
I feel like we've pissed you off and haven't even tried to. I like this.
No, I'm just sick, dude. Legitimately, like
He's got
I'm gonna go
no.
with like we're gonna set you, and we're gonna try not to ride you as hard as we normally do, or whatever. I don't know. But anyways, that's
that
cool,
sounded
man.
mildly. That's what I'm looking for.
Sexual.
Homoerotic. Chill.
Did you guys look into any of the books this
Lord have
week though that
mercy.
come out? Because it's kind of we have
Yeah,
talked
I'm
about a
all
few of
over
them.
Wednesday spec because that's absolutely fun.
Well, actually, this week it
Jeez.
seems like it might be a Wednesday Warriors wet dream. Really,
It
There seem to
is.
be a
It
few-
definitely seems.
Tell me more.
There seem to be a few books that are already popping off.
Yes.
Tell me more.
I've written about a bunch of them on comicbookspeculation.com, obviously. But we'll talk about a little bit of them now. A character that I'm in love with, obviously, Luna Snow. She has a new solo series, I guess, or new ongoing. There was another one of these characters that had one, I think, last week or something. But this title is called Future Fight First, Luna Snow #1. And there is 1 in 50 or 1 in 100. I think it's 1 in 100 Virgin cover. And then there's also the 1 in 25 Cho cover. And there's been a few sales around $35. There's also some sales around $40. So I think this is a good book to be picking up. And plus, it's Luna Snow. So
Yeah, I think last week it was White Fox, and that Virgin is getting near 200 now.
And the Future Avengers, what is that? Was that in the White Fox one too, or no?
I'm not sure what that is.
Okay, but the Future Avengers or something. So who knows?
Oh, okay.
Another book that I really like is this 1 in 10 variant for Marvel Action Spider-Man. It's by John Boy Mayer, and it seems to be popping off as well.
John Boy Mayer.
Well, what's his name? Okay, what's his name?
He said John Mayer and John Boy Myers.
What's wrong with John Mayer?
Yeah, you can call him that, I guess. His name's John Boy Myers.
Yeah, it says John Boy Mayer.
But I think you were
Right?
mixing.
Oh
it
no,
up with
there's
your
an S there.
favorite musician.
John Boy Mayers. Anyways, I like it. I like this cover because you see Spider Gwen is there, and then so is Miles, and then Spider Man in the reflection of the eyes. So
Oh, that's pretty
I
cool.
like it. And
I like
it seems to
his
be
art.
selling pretty well.
He's a pretty good artist. I like his stuff. He's done a lot
And,
of DC stuff.
Well, plus this cover is an
And
IDW. It's an IDW Marvel book, so I'm not sure what the print runs are on these, but
Yeah, I don't know if
pretty
people
nice.
realize that these Marvel Action books are actually published by IDW because they're. I honestly have no clue why.
I think they somehow
It's like
purchased
a
the
joint
rights to it.
venture.
But I also think like Marvel just felt bad for them and was like, okay, you guys can do this. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure though. But I feel like that's what it comes down to is Marvel was just like, okay, you can do
Hey,
this. I
hey, you're
guess.
really trying. You're really trying. Here's a little something.
I don't know, man. And the big one I think is this one, Batman Beyond 37, having a new character, Batwoman Beyond. We did talk about this at the beginning of the month, so I don't know. What do you think about this book?
Do you want to talk about who you think it is, or are you?
Well, okay,
So
so
at the end, it's
there's two covers.
yeah.
The one
The
cover
B
she's
cover,
on, the cover
I
A,
wouldn't. Yeah, I'd stay away
and then
from
there's
the
a
B
cover
cover.
B that she's not on. Yeah, and what was revealed at the end of Batman Beyond 37 was it could be one of two characters. They don't say who it is, but it could be Barbara Gordon or it could be Melanie Gibson, not Maxine. I don't know why it says that. Melanie Gibson. Barbara Gordon's first appearance
Is that
is
Debbie's daughter, right? Debbie Gibson.
Barbara Gordon's first appearance is Detective
Hello?
Comics 359. And again, I don't think it's her because that she's shown up a lot in the book. I think it really is this Melanie Gibson character who first appeared in Batman Beyond Volume 2, Number 4 from
Yeah,
2000.
that's a good book. Try and
So-
find that one. That's a tough to find book. There's a couple on eBay, but they want way too much for them.
I kind of regret not buying a bunch of them, but
Yeah,
they were
like
selling for
2
about
weeks
$10.
ago?
Well, they were selling for about $10 when I put that article out yesterday, or yesterday I think. So
Yeah.
who knows? And plus, my grammar's terrible in this thing. But yeah, so it could be this character. It could not be. The thing is, on the cover for A, it looks like she has red hair. I don't know. Maybe that's just the reflection, and she has blonde hair. So I
No,
don't
they
know.
showed at the end of 36. They showed her hair. It was long red hair. I thought, or maybe I'm thinking of panels from this one. But yeah, I don't think it's either of them based on their hair, but could be wrong.
Yeah. So we'll see. But I think it's more likely this character over the Barbara Gordon character. And
Yeah.
they seem like it was either it seemed like a one or the other one of these. So unless DC pulls a big surprise, but I think it's probably this one. So we'll see where this goes.
Yeah. We shall see. one.
Another book is Immortal Hulk 24.
No, it's 25.
Is it 25?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What else about this book?
So there's a little bit of buzz coming out today about it. We talked about this book when the artwork was released, which was actually back in July. It was on episode 11. If you go back and listen to that, we talked about it. I brought it up because I thought from the solicitation that maybe this would bring back the World Breaker Hulk, because they brought back a ton of characters in this series. So back then I talked about Incredible Hulk number 105 from Volume 2, which is where it's a Planet Hulk story, and he destroys the planet, and he calls himself the World Breaker. That's, it's kind of just a title. It's not necessarily like a power or anything. So there's been some stuff coming out today that he may be more of a moving into a Herald of Galactus type of situation at the end of this book. So there's been a little bit of buzz. Has it? This is
What's
the
this?
panel from Incredible Hulk 105 where
Oh.
you can see there he says, but I was a World Breaker all along. So he's saying Hulk was saying he was the World Breaker. So
that's Hulk
if
105 Volume 2, and you think people should be buying that?
not at this point.
Oh.
I bought a couple way back in July just to have ready for when this issue came out, and I'm not sure that it's going to see the same. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to see a bump like I was hoping, I guess I should say. Didn't spend a lot, but that's the whole speculation game. You want to have it ahead of time, so we'll see what as it moves into issue 26 what the big deal is. Amazing Mary Jane number 1. Is it like why did they?
Well,
why
this is
did
a
they
cover
make this
B
book?
by Art Germ. I believe they
Yeah.
did this so they could release a bunch of J. Scott Campbell store variants. I believe
Yeah.
they released 5, and they all seem to be doing pretty well online.
Like
so I think that's why they did it. I don't know. It
they
seems
needed
like
to
an
throw J. Scott Campbell another bone from the other 75 variants he's put out this year.
Well, it seems like a really easy way for them to make money, because obviously stores are going to order it, and people are going to be like, "Oh, a number 1 Mary Jane book where she's holding the gun. I might be down."
Is he
So-
not selling those store variants himself though?
Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
No, this cover is cool, but did you read the synopsis for it?
no, what is it?
It seemed terrible. It's like, oh, she wanted to be a movie star, so she goes to Hollywood, and shenanigans ensue. It's like, what? What? Why would anybody want to read this book? I don't know.
Makes sense
So,
though. That's what I think. Makes
yeah.
sense.
Yeah. No.
Um, Halloween Comic
So,
Fest is coming up as well, right? When's that?
yeah, that's this
around
weekend.
Halloween. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Halloween Comic Fest is this weekend, which is similar promotion to Free Comic Book Day, where they give out free comic books labeled with the Halloween Comic Fest label on them. A lot of times they're just reprints of stories, and they have the same cover or very similar cover. This one, I thought, maybe if you're at your store this weekend, pick up one. Don't pick a stack of them up. Don't be a jerk like that, because they are free. They're meant for more for kids and to bring people into shops. But with the way that Ultimate Fallout #4 is going, I mean, if you pick one of these up for free, maybe down the road it's $5, $10, whatever. I think it's just a nice little something to pick up. Throw your shop some money, buy some other stuff from them.
Yeah, we should probably take a moment to encourage everybody who watches this podcast to give comic books out for Halloween.
Oh, that's a good one.
I mean, legitimately, like if you want your books to be valuable in the future, if you want comics to be a thing in the future, then you get comic books in the hands of kids. Period.
And what type of comics are you giving out?
Generally, Golden Age book. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
That's what I
Child
figured.
appropriate books, like age specific.
Do you have some? I guess that's my question.
I am gonna have to try to do a decent job of like doing that.
Maybe some Betty and Veronica's with some nice
Non-salacious covers.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy. I mean, I got books. We'll see what I can do, but
That's it.
I think it's important that gets done.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I like that. I like that. So was that it for the books this week?
Yeah, that was it. I couldn't
Yeah.
find any other ones as far as
Oh.
I could tell. I mean, what do I
Okay.
know though?
Yeah. You may not know much.
Not a lot, obviously. But I mean, again, who knows? Who knows anything? I did notice that there's a lot of Hickman spec stuff going on though. And there was something you want to talk about Moira, no?
Yeah, Hickman did say, as Nico had been leading on to for weeks, maybe months at this point, that she's going to play a prominent role as X-Men moves forward, and he has plans to give her own solo series. He did not announce any type of dates or anything, but he did say that is his plans. So, yeah, Nico's been hot on this book for months, and he gets one right every once in a while. I think this one does have a lot of potential. I think he talked about it last podcast about possibly now that Feige's in control at MCU, they could possibly adapt this House and Power story, bring something fresh, something new to the movies or TV, whatever it be, and maybe she becomes a more prominent character in the X-Men.
They do seem to be wanting to do something with the X-Men, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did a relaunch. So that's interesting. Maybe they do the Hickman stuff. There was one other Hickman thing that came up recently, and that was the introduction of this new character in X-Men 1.
Yeah.
Where they came across this new character or whatever. So they also
it's not a new.
Well, they introduced the Children of the Vault, or reintroduced the Children of the Vault, and one of them is believed to be Seraphine. Right? Is that how we would say that? Who knows?
Yeah. Yep.
Like Aquafina. You can say it a million ways.
Yeah.
But the first appearance of both of these, the Children of the Vault and Seraphine, is X-Men 188. And it has a pretty snazzy 1 in 25 variant cover. So I think those are worth looking for if you're out in a boot. But who knows?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to find that variant out. But
yeah, dude, I was going to say, wow.
Well, the variant's a 1 in 25.
It's low, but
I mean, they're out there, I'm sure, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna find that at a local comic shop.
No,
You might.
most likely not.
Why
My
not?
local comic shop is Midtown.
I think. I mean,
I
it's
mean-
25. We're talking about. You
I
just
don't-
have to order
25
25
copies
copies of the book.
Of X-Men 188.
Well, it probably wasn't.
This was a 1 in 10.
Yeah, it was probably fairly well ordered at that time. I would assume. I don't know.
What year is that book, guys?
Looks like
99 or
90s.
2000 something.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's 2004. I can't remember offhand though.
yeah.
Ooh.
It could be around there.
Who knows?
2004.
Who
It's a
knows?
harder sale.
Yeah,
Well,
sales were down.
Whew.
what else? What's this going on, Sleepy?
So
That's a great book. I gotta find them.
What is it, though?
This is the 5th print of House and Powers #1. They took.
Were they released yet?
No, that I think the FOC was yesterday though, so
Oh.
they're going to be coming out in a couple weeks. They took the Mark Brooks connecting variant, which have been pretty hot. They sell for about 40 for the set of them. They're not even incentives. So they took that and did a recolor, which I think they did a pretty cool job as to highlighting probably the most important scene of the whole House and Powers series was the Moira and Professor X bench scene. And so I thought, I was like thinking about recent 5th prints and when Marvel's been doing all these later prints, which have been more prominent lately. They've been doing them for books like Immortal Hulk. Die #1 went to a 5th print from Image. Lots of independents go to later printings, especially with the shenanigans that Boom is pulling now. But, I think long term, I think these could be a pretty nice hold and get a good return in a few years, maybe. It really depends how important in the future House and Powers becomes and if it does hang on to its popularity now. I don't see why it would change unless they 5 years down the road they scrap Hickman's story, but I find that hard to believe that they would do that. So I think these like I said, they'll be coming out in a couple weeks. You could probably still
I mean,
I
it's
would try
Marvel.
and-
They're gonna relaunch everything in every like 2
I
years. They
know.
seem to relaunch stuff.
I
so.
know that could
I think
definitely
that's-
destroy it, but we'll just have to wait and see. But it got me curious as to are there any other older books that have really retained value on later printings? I know now there's a lot of spec on buying second prints and later for value.
Secret Wars
And-
1 second print sells for more than the first print.
Yeah, nobody even knows there is a second print for that one.
And I think there's a few other ones like that.
There's lots of second prints. I have a list of second prints. Maybe I'll do a article on that someday. But 5th prints.
Well, I mean, there's the
'Cause they're-
Batman New 52.
Yep.
5th print.
Yep, that was one of them. That was one of 3 that I was able to think off the top of my head. Was Batman New 52 #1, Saga #1 5th print does pretty well, and the oldest of them is the Superman Man of Steel #18, the Doomsday DCU reprint pack. So those 3 are the only 3 I could really think of, in the past day that are 5th prints that have retained some value over time.
Yeah, that just
Like I
that
said-
image just.
What?
I like that book. I hope I can get my hands on a couple copies.
Am I
Yeah.
hearing? Am I the only one?
Yeah, he's
having-
breaking.
Okay, cool.
No, he's
not gonna
breaking
matrix.
up a little bit.
You can't just
Yeah.
pretend like that's actually happening, because then I think that there's a problem with me. You're responding to him and stuff.
Well, I can
That's-
hear most of it, but some of it breaks up.
You're the best.
How about Professor Hulk 3rd print?
No, but he's specifically said
Yeah,
5th prints. We
obviously.
can't think of any 5th prints, unfortunately.
Yeah,
okay, what
yeah.
else? What else is going on?
I'll put together an article on later prints. I have a nice list going already.
There was okay. I'll let
what?
you do this. Go on.
Well, it says Sleepy Spec next to it. I don't know why. It's not Sleepy Spec.
I disagree. Sleepy put this
Oh,
listing.
okay.
There seems to be
It's
some
like
news
Hollywood
coming out
hipster spec.
earlier today about saying Marvel is possibly looking at adapting Secret Invasion or some other series. So, why do you think these are key books? Well, and or
Secret
Annihilation.
Invasion
So
and or Annihilation, which they've both been on a lot of people's radar for a good while now, basically since Captain Marvel movie. Both have really started to be seeming like everything was shaping up for these. So Secret Invasion, there's a couple like books that lead up to it, but number one in the main series, I think, is where any type of value will lie, as if it does come to fruition. This is a Dell'Otto cover. I'm honest, there's tons of variants for these. It was a very heavily ordered book. I honestly think this one is probably going to hold a little bit of value. You can buy it cheap now. Could be a nice $20, $25 book down the road if things do come to fruition that it is Secret Invasion. Like I said, there's a ton of variants. This is a 1 in 25 from Steve McNiven. There's a 1 in 75 sketch of that same art. There's a 1 in 50 Lionel Yu. There's Dynamic Forces, which was limited to 2,000, I believe. So there's a bunch of different variants. They can all pretty much be had at this point under ratio. And I was thinking about buying some today. I think I actually bought some a couple months ago, and I have to double check because, like I said, this has been around for a little while. It keeps popping back up. Seems like Secret Invasion, is on the brink.
I think they were cheap when they came out because I think I have this. I think I have this 1 in 25 one, the Lionel Yu one.
That's the 1 in 50, actually. There's also a Midtown. This was one of those books that Midtown just put their stamp on and did their own version of that Lionel Yu. So there's a lot of. Midtown actually still has those for $3.75 on their website right now.
$3.75.
For the Midtown variant.
Yeah. Well, there's no problem with that. I mean,
they have them at 60% off. No, I think that's a very affordable pickup.
What's the second print cover that's got like the
that's a good
scroll
one
on it? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I assume it's a panel from inside. So there's a second.
It's like the new
print
Avenger.
and a third print.
No, it's like a new Avengers book. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I was going to say there's a second and third print of Secret Invasion #1 that have different covers as well.
There's a later printing of a new Avengers book, or maybe it's a Dark Avengers book. I'll make sure to get that one ready for us. But it's a nice play. I think it depicts who's the daughter that's going to potentially be the villain. At least that's what they hypothesize.
I'm not sure where you're going with this.
Well,
anyways, the other book is Annihilation.
Sorry, I wish I could help you out. I need a little bit more to go.
And what variant is this for Annihilation?
Again. Forgive me.
This is Annihilation 1.
Annihilation 1. I forgot to look up what the ratio is. I think it's a 1 in 25. But that shows Annihilus on the cover, which he does not have like a lot of cover appearances except his first appearance as well. The first book in the Annihilation story arc is this Annihilation prologue, which actually picked up a couple of both these books over the past year. And there's also a 1 in 25 sketch variant of that prologue. That's just a black and white sketch of it. But as far as Annihilus, he's on the cover of Fantastic Four Annual #6. First appearance. This book has been skyrocketing over the past year or two. Past 2 years, we'll say.
Yeah.
Also, first Franklin Richards.
Yeah, about a year and a half. You could have gotten him pretty decent a year and a half ago. The key, I think, for this book is you want to get in at the tip top or at the bottom. There's so much
grade-wise, you're saying?
Yeah, there's so much going on with those mid-grade books. And I think like Giant Size X-Men 1 and Surfer 1 or any of those early Surfers, really, that people will undergrade or overgrade those books. Undergrade those books, unlike retrograde, and you'll do better buying them raw and submitting them yourself. I think you'll be able to make money that way, or at least get like a deal for your money that way.
Okay, good thought. Yeah, yeah. I think with books like that, you're right. Maybe if you can buy at a good price, it does help to have it graded because then people know what grade they're actually buying, as opposed to books like that, which can vary pretty good depending on the spine condition and what it looks like on the inside, which can be hard to tell on eBay.
Yeah, I
What's
like that book too because it's the first Franklin Richards.
Yeah, right. Which he now they're going to do Fantastic Four in some way. He could have a good role in that.
Well, remember I can't remember if it was House of X or Powers of X, there's an allusion to Franklin Richards being a mutant. That was certainly a plot that was explored heavily in the 90s. You may recall one of those later FF for X-Men annuals that has like a teenage young adult version of Franklin Richards on the cover.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is one iteration of that character, the other being from Days of Future Past. I think we're going to see that character show up in the House of X or Powers of X, kind of like X-Men spin-off books. If I'm a betting man, I mean, Hickman does things that are intentional, and he leaves breadcrumbs, and he certainly did in that book.
He's been probably the best writer on Fantastic Four in the past 2 decades or whatever. So
absolutely,
it's something very familiar to him.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's the win there.
Speaking of that, real quick, one other book I wanted to mention, Step Back to Secret Invasion, is another book I've been picking up over the years. It's New Avengers #7, which is the first Illuminati. I believe we've talked about it on the podcast before. If they do go Secret Invasion, they could definitely bring the Illuminati into play. The Illuminati is a team of a lot of the major players, that being in the comic. Now, a lot of times they don't stick exactly to the comics, but if I name these off, you're like, oh, why would they not do that? So you got Doctor Strange, Iron Man, who knows what his future is in MCU, but Professor X, Mr. Fantastic, 2 new properties that they have. Submariner, obviously he's very heavily rumored for Black Panther, and Black Bolt, which we've been talking about in Humans, is coming back into play in MCU stuff. So I think all those characters, or at least most of them, could form this team that is prevalent to the Secret Invasion storyline.
Yeah, and they mentioned in the live chat, again, forgive me for being off my A game, Days of Future Present is the follow-up to Days of Future Past. If you're looking for those books, and I see those Days of Future Present annuals in dollar bins all the time. And I snag them up all the time.
What year's that from around?
It's like 90 something, but the point is it was an oversized book. Nobody paid real close attention to it. I think there'll be, some larger retailers that are going to have long boxes of them potentially. But, finding those in high grade, if you're not like hip to a like mile high quality warehouse are going to be hard. And I think there'll be an opportunity if he pops up to sell those books quick for like $40 in high grade. So that's a win.
Okay, cool. That's a good one.
The other big news that came out this week was the Bloodshot trailer finally dropped.
Yeah.
Now, did you guys all watch this? Nico,
wow.
Did you watch it?
I did.
Now,
You
I don't know
didn't
what
watch it?
you guys thought about it, but I thought it was terrible.
Was this?
It looks terrible.
Hold on. Was this not the most anticipated trailer of the past year?
No.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because people were waiting for this to come out so they could trash it. They were like, people had their comments written about how bad it was before it was even released.
Well,
they wrote their comments on Sunday. It was released on Monday.
But it was bad. You're saying it wasn't bad? Is that what you're saying?
I didn't think it looked bad at all. Tell me how it looked worse than like a Captain Marvel movie or
because
the
this
Venom
looks like
movie.
A Diesel action movie that I'd see on video on demand.
Oh, I don't disagree with that. I mean, there's a lot of comic book movies that I watch that are strictly because they're comic book related. I have no, I had no. Oh my gosh, I don't know what's going
Are
on
you
over there.
Dude, I'm
over
telling you,
there?
I'm not well.
But his lights like flickered and stuff too. I think you may
Yeah.
be.
His lights did flicker. Maybe he's possessed.
It's like
I think you
I
might
need
be
an
possessed.
exorcism.
It could, yeah, it could be like Poltergeist.
Bring in the priest.
I have a lot of confessions I need to make.
Watch out for those TVs. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Don't go near TVs. But anyway, so you thought it was good. Okay, that's interesting. Nico, what
I
did you
did think it was good.
Well, you're biased. I'm ignoring you now. Nico, what did you think about the Bloodshot trailer?
I mean, I'll probably, because I like to support comic book properties, watch it in the theater. If it wasn't a comic book movie, I obviously wouldn't watch it, and
Yeah.
probably wouldn't watch it if it was on Netflix and my cable was out and I had nothing else to watch, and I saw that trailer, and I'd just still be like,
Well, did you
But
hear
you,
Nico?
but you
though?
didn't even see the trailer though.
I did see the trailer.
He said he did.
Oh.
Did you hear what happened though?
No,
Valiant fan number 1, Sleepy John, watched the trailer and he spotted some new characters.
he did. In fact, I thought that was exciting.
Fan number 1. No, these were not new characters. These have been known for probably.
Okay, so you think people should buy
over a
these 2
year.
books though?
If you don't have them already, I don't think I'd be going out of my way to buy them. They've been very hard to track
I was
down.
gonna say, where the fuck are you gonna find those books? I've
But what's the
never seen
importance
those
of
in my
these?
entire life.
This is the second volume, right? The acclaimed volume.
This
of
is volume
Bloodshot,
2.
issue
This
2
is-
and 3.
Yes, this is the first appearance of a team called Chainsaw, and on 3 there on the right you can see the team. They're kind of like mutated people, and they look really weird. They're in the movie somewhere. I don't know if we saw them in the trailer or not, though. They may have been in the trailer, but they did not look mutated like they do in the comics. So I don't know that anything's popped up with them yet. This is next. The other guy we did see was Iron Spider from Avengers.
Yeah,
no,
looks good.
no, that's not who it was. It's Axe. His name's Axe. First appearance is Harbinger, Volume 1, Number 3. You can see him on the cover of it. I thought his honestly, I thought the quality.
I see those in dollar bins all the time. I'll tell you that much.
Harbinger number 3. I'd be
Yeah.
picking those up even if it had nothing to do with the movie.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Harbinger
Screw that
early-
up.
Yeah, because
issues-
again, he's a Valiant fan and he's biased, as I said, as we started
early-
the segment with.
Early Harbinger issues are the only ones that really hold any value. Like
My friend who's a dollar bin king, like legit king, just texted me. He's like, "I've got those," and I know he got them from the dollar.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. There's no other real Valiant properties for the early issues that don't have significance that hold any money. Magnus, Rye, Eternal Warrior, Solar, Exo. None of them really hold any money besides.
I love
number
those
ones.
early Valiant books, man.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean-
still rooting for Valiant. I talked to some guys that were like legit Valiant people, not like employees of like Valiant, but like they were like diehard
They don't
fans
have
in
any
Baltimore.
employees, do they?
I have no
Well, they
idea.
do, but aren't a bunch of them in jail, or at least wanted by the team?
Well, they indicated that
Right.
like their understanding was basically that it's a payola thing. Now, I don't know the truth of any of these things. I don't know the truth of the allegations that were made, that kind of like, that I reported on a long time ago. It was basically just me relaying a story that was shared secondhand, or again, the secondhand information from these guys. But basically, they suggested that, a lot of the controversy surrounding Valiant and DMG was a result of not paying the right people off, like payola for real in China, and that inspired this kind of like backlash from the Chinese government. Again, I don't know. You can do your own investigating and kind of make your own conclusions.
Yeah, that doesn't.
But
Really
I
have
liked
much to
old
do with
Valiant,
the movie, though. The movie was in the works when DMG.
And I'm excited about the
bought
movie,
out.
dude. I shouldn't be so tongue in cheek about it, talking about the trailer. To be perfectly honest, if I saw like a trailer for Ben-Hur, I'd probably give it a thumbs down. I've just when you don't feel well, like you don't like anything. So
Well, I don't care
Oh,
because Blind Adam agrees with me too. And the man's blind, and he thought the trailer was trash. So what does that tell you?
well,
Exactly.
I talked to
Exactly.
Stevie Wonder. He said it looked great.
I, that may be. I think he's a liar though about being blind. I
Well,
think he can
you know,
actually see. There's no way a man can be blind and that talented. I don't believe it.
well, I'm just saying. Have you ever seen his hair? I think he is blind. So the other thing announced this week was The Rock confirmed that Black Adam movie is going to start filming in 2020. So we've known that this was coming for long, long time. How long has this been going on? 5,
5,
6
6
years?
years before Shazam, before we knew
Yeah,
like a Shazam movie was happening. Yeah.
yeah. So we all know Shazam 28. This book's been hot for a number of years now. I think the days finding it cheap are probably gone. So what other Black Adam books are out there? Well, Black Adam #1, the Alex Ross. Can you believe this is only a 1 in 10 variant?
This is a variant. I didn't know it was a
Yeah,
variant, but that's
yeah. The
in
regular
solid.
cover is garbage, um, but this cover is awesome, and
I'm
it's
pretty
only a
sure they
1 in
made this
10.
a poster at one point too.
Yeah, it's also the cover for the trade,
Makes sense.
which if you can find the trade, that's another good book to pick up. If you can find it cheap, that's the, I'm not good at trades. I don't know if you guys are either, like the hard to find ones that sell, but that's one that I do know is a good pickup if you can find it. Black Adam, it's called The Dark Age. It was 6-issue miniseries, and this is on
And
the
it was from the
cover.
pages of 52 and Countdown. I
Oh,
mean, from what I hear.
and it was #1 of 6. Yeah, so that sells for about like 40 to 80 bucks, I think, depending on the day. Justice #9. This is just a book that I've had on my list for a long time. When they announced Black Adam, that's just a regular cover. Another Alex Ross. I mean, it's a nice cover. He's beating up Shazam. He's just not very prevalent in modern DC, so maybe that'll see a little interest. Who knows? Depends what the movie starts shaping up like. And then the last book I had for some Black Adam spec was Forever Evil #5 variant. It's a 1 in 25 Ethan Van Sciver variant. So it's got dual appeal for the Comicsgate fans as well as the Black Adam speculators. You know what's interesting? When I first started looking at this book was Van Sciver did 2 or 3 variants like that for DC that all look somewhat similar to me. Not necessarily the same poses, but they all have like this giant head like in the same spot. He did the Batman New 52 #1 variant. This one, there was one other one, I forget what it is, but they just all look kind of the same to me. It's kind of got like the art germ appeal where it's like the art's okay. They all kind of look the same, but
Yeah.
it's still a cheap book, goes for well under ratio. So I think those are some good ones to look out for.
And then other news that came out this week, or at least came out yesterday, was through a press release that DC put out, or at least Warner Brothers did, because this year they didn't do anything at San Diego Comic-Con, but there's a Brazil Comic-Con coming up, and the director Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot are going to appear at this Brazil Comic-Con, and they're going to show the trailer for Wonder Woman. And it was in that press release that they confirmed Maxwell Lord was playing, or Maxwell Lord was going to be in the movie. So, I mean, this was rumored, but it's finally been confirmed. His first appearance is Justice League 1 from 1987. And I don't know. I think it's an okay book to buy. I mean, the book sells for about 15 to 20 bucks as it is now. It's going to see a bump with this character, but I don't know how.
There's a
good it's
lot of
gonna be
these out there
long-term.
too. I see these a lot in like $3 bins at shows. And for a while, I was picking them up because, like you said, they can sell for you. You shouldn't really have a hard time selling them for $10. It's an iconic cover that's been homaged a number of times, and it does have first appearance of Maxwell Lord, so it sells for $10, no problem. I think, like you said, it'll uptick once we see something more.
But like, it wouldn't be a book I'd be holding on to forever.
No,
So
I'd sell it as soon as I could for $20.
If those ever make it out of my dollar bins, I'm gonna quit comics.
I was
I'm
gonna say,
coming to your
I bet
house,
Nico.
man.
I was gonna say, I bet Nico has some of those.
Just take all of his books. The other news that came out this week was that Brian Haberlin, an artist for Image Comics, had announced that his 2 series, Sonoda and The Marked, had been picked up for television series. It hasn't been confirmed through any media sources. We don't know any real details of it. We just know that they're possibly optioned. So those books have kind of been going wild this week.
And The Mark just came out last week, I think.
Well, so the first one, Sonoda, there's 2 regular covers.
Sonata.
Whatever. There's also this retailer exclusive variant cover, which was the
I
first
remember missing that book when it came out and being butthurt then.
Yeah, I mean the cover B I think was like an $8 or $9 book a few weeks after release, so it is what it is. And then there's also this Las Vegas Summit exclusive that was given out, and those all predate the #1 issues.
Yeah, the retailer exclusive is the one that I was mad I didn't get. The ones on the left now.
Go back to
they use the same art they use the same artwork for the second print, so
yeah, it looks like is this based on Neverending Story? It's got that guy riding the giant dog, except this one's like a eagle.
Well, it's an eagle, right? So I thought it's more like Game of Thrones or something. Because it's a dragon, maybe? I don't know.
There's a dragon there
Who
too.
knows?
Yeah.
And as you were saying, the Marked came up this week. It doesn't have any Comics Pro previews or anything, so that's cool. And it has something to do with tattoos and curses and magic. So
yeah, I'd like to get that book too. Add that to the list of books I didn't buy.
I didn't buy them either, but once I read this thing, I looked at Midtown, and Midtown had a stack of them. So I think I ordered like 15 in various covers. So there was this cover. There was this cover, which is the cover B, right? That's what it says, right? Cover B, and it's a wraparound cover.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't really like it that much because I don't like if both sides look like this, I would like it, but the other side I wasn't a real fan of. But then, of course, this is the real winner. This was the 1 per store surprise, what they're saying, but it's really a secret variant or whatever. And every retailer who ordered copies of the Marked got 1 copy of this, and this seems to be the big winner. But
that's a cool one too.
Does anybody know what's happening with this? No. Is it a book about do they have really nice covers with females with some crazy tattoos? Yeah, so
yeah,
I can see the appeal to these books 100%.
For the record,
how long they're going to be though? Yeah.
So like indie spec like this is never a good bet, right? Ever. And I'm
not
still
long term.
Well, no, I mean if you can go to your comic book store every time. If you go to your comic book store, you can buy it for cover and sell it for more right now.
Yeah, but that's not what I want. I want
what you should want.
10 copies of the Moon cover with the witch on the broom. You know what I mean? Like I'm a sucker for it, like everybody else.
Well, if you can find one, I mean, a lot of stores put out 1 per store copies for $20 and way under what they sell online. So I mean, if you're looking for these books, I don't think the Marked was on anybody's radar last week until this news came out.
I remember reading the solicitation. It sounded pretty cool, actually.
Nice.
This announcement though reminds me of the stuff we talked about after NYCC when it was like some creators were overheard that their projects were possibly optioned. So, like Jimmy was saying, I don't know, or Nico was saying, this isn't, in my opinion, not a long term.
Yeah.
Jimmy said, if you can make your money now, get it. I agree.
And then, of course, the last news that came out last week was from Key Collector. And Key Collector said that Grass Kings has been optioned by Legendary, and they're developing it into a TV show, which I think is pretty neat. So these books have kind of taken off, selling for a lot more than their cover prices. They're not doing that much, though. There was this cover A, then there was this Final Order cutoff variant.
Fiona Staples.
And then there was this 1 in 10 variant cover. And then there was like 1 store variant by like this hip hop comics guy that was, I think, limited to 1,000. So you should buy that apparently. But
it looks like that one, the artwork is for the wrong book though, compared to the other books. That looks
but this one's more like a movie poster. And it says 3 brothers and a girl on the run. It doesn't say anything about
Adam.
Blind
Blind Adam was telling me about that movie. 3 brothers and the girl have the runs.
Listen, first of all, if it's worth dying for, it's worth killing for. Grass Kings. I think that variant is awesome. So whatever. I don't like this logo thing in the middle or in the bottom right corner, or at least parts of it I don't like. But I like it. I mean, whatever. It's hip hop comics, so I mean, whatever. I
Okay.
mean, don't they own comicbookspeculation.com? That's what I heard on the streets.
It's the rumor at Baltimore.
Yeah, that's. I don't know though. I
Okay.
don't know, man.
What about we didn't talk about Bone being optioned. Bone Jeff Smith.
So we didn't talk about Bone last week.
No, because I think it came out Wednesday or something last week.
Oh, I assumed we talked about it. Yeah.
I mean, that book, that's one of those books where I want a copy just because it's hard to find and other people want it. I don't know too much about it. I've always heard it's a great story. I've never read it.
Oh, it's tremendous.
Well,
You've
Nico
actually
was the
read
one
it,
who was
Nico?
saying last week that he thinks it's the biggest news of the year, which I don't really disagree with, because Netflix taking over this property, and I mean, it is one of the best-selling graphic novels of all time. Because again, it's distributed through Scholastics. It's in a bunch of libraries. A lot of kids are introduced to it. It's a lot of children's first comic book or first comic experience that they have. So
that would be a great book to give away at Halloween. Not necessarily the original.
It's funny that you say that. I absolutely
series.
have like later printings of Bone that I give away
Yeah.
to kids. I met a like a nice mom one time who came up to my booth at like a small con.
Where's this story going?
It wasn't like that. It was a grandmother. I don't know. But the point is, they were talking about like, I would like to get my child involved, and I gave him a trade paperback that was signed by Jeff Smith.
Sweet,
like,
man.
I support Bone. I think it could be as big as any like Disney animated, whatever ever. I mean, this could be enormous if it's done well. And remember, Smith has always, had offers. Disney, for example, tried to pay him, a big chunk of change back in the day, and he refused because he wanted creative control, which I'm certain he'll have with Netflix. So I've got a lot of faith in this property. There's a couple live auctions for some Bone books up right now on eBay that I've actually toyed with the idea of bidding on. Of course, there's the Thorn graphic novel that predates the book, and it was funny. I mentioned the fact that just republishes the newspaper strips, and then somebody didn't understand that in the comment that they left. They were like, "You've got the first appearance wrong," and I was okay. You're right.
I mean, if you have any of the old Ohio State student newspapers from where he originally did the art, maybe that's actually the first appearance. We should, Nico. You mentioned Columbus in your you should be able to rustle a few of those newspapers up. I'm sure they're around.
Oh yeah, I'll just show up in Columbus and throw my arms up and be like,
"Yeah, hey, I'm here."
Ohio State, right?
Hey, I'm here.
It's funny. You would think living in the part of the country that we do that we would have like a better shot of seeing these Bone books. None. The only time I've ever seen them online.
Yeah, I don't necessarily see the first print, but I do see a lot of the later printings, and I think I bought one that was signed and sketched by Jeff Smith. I'm not positive, but I know I was looking at him just because he's from our area and he was it was popular at the time. So, and it's how many printings does it have? At least 8, I think.
Dude,
it might be in double digits for number
You'll
1.
find like issue 7 that'll be a 5th print. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like it's wild. I think issue 3 is a fan favorite. And
that should go on my list that I was talking about earlier of 5th prints that hold value. Although I don't know if that one does. Also, Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. So over 20 printings. Thanks for getting me off on that tangent, Nico.
Sorry. It's comics. It just like lends itself to tangents.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear the Complete Bone, like the first trade paperback. Is that? Am I wrong in thinking that's a good book?
I don't know.
I don't know. I give a signed and sketched one away to like some grandma.
Oh, no, it's not. I just see a lot of losers posting about it. I think it might be selling for like $20 now. I might be wrong. Who knows? I don't know. I just see a lot of people talking about that. I think it's a nothing book. So whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, the point is, I don't. I think there's The other problem that I think everybody should probably be aware of, and the reason that I think that Bone 1 first prints are still probably like the book, is that you can't slab the trade paperback, right? Like
Why
Thorn's,
can't you?
Thorn's
Yeah, you
like
can.
this.
Why can't you?
Oh, not Thorn. Thorn's probably too thick.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. You can slab trades. Nobody really does it though.
Do you think they'll grade a Thorn?
CGC
I
has.
don't
Look
know
it up.
about
It's on the
that.
census. There's a few
Is
graded.
it?
What are you talking about? That's the easiest way to
Really?
look it up. You go on the census, and that's how you look it up. It says it's the first appearance of Funny Bone, or I don't know what it says. It says some nonsense. It doesn't say it's like the first appearance of Bone, but I mean, it
No,
obviously
it is. It's funny.
Although,
Bone.
like, they
You're
first
right.
appeared in the newspaper thing. I mean, so I don't know. It's weird. If Bone number 1 says it's the first
grade
appearance, I don't understand why
Thorn.
Thorn doesn't.
Fantastic.
What?
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, it's not like you have a copy and you're getting it graded, but yeah, I agree.
Don't
No,
challenge him.
don't challenge me.
He'll be sending you a message later. Should I buy this?
I'll just ignore it. Like I ignore all of his "should I buy" messages. The answer's always yes.
I usually respond. Though.
Yeah, you're
Thanks,
good
John.
for that.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that. It's the kind of
I hope
software I need.
I hope you sold that book I told you to sell. You probably didn't though.
What? The chamber?
Yeah.
Gone.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, to
Wow.
those guys.
to the buyer you were saying?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's dumb.
wow.
That's dumb.
I like it.
but
It
that's
was
okay.
a dumb buy for them, I think.
I think it's a dumb
I
buy
was able
for
to
Nico.
parlay a number of different books together
Well,
and do some big
we
cash.
shouldn't talk about
numbers.
it too much. It's too inside. We've been told that we shouldn't have too much inside conversation. I've been told.
Yeah.
I've been told not
I'm
to go
gonna
too-
I'm gonna
we're too
comment again.
inside. You have to go outside.
Yeah, well, long story short, I like Baltimore. I like buying and selling books. It's fun. And I like to help other people buy and sell better books. Can I mention, too?
Well, I hope
that-
you make it to the next year.
I
Like, I
actually
hope, like
have-
health wise, you make it there.
Very-
Because like the way you're sounding, I don't know. I hope that I hope you're not
No.
having a downward spiral.
Like I
That's
said,
really
look-
unfortunate. There he goes again. That's not good, man.
We'll weekend at Bernie's him at Baltimore.
It would be really bad if something did happen to him, and then this is just replayed over and over again. Oh, that'd be the worst.
we
I'd be
would-
okay with it though. Okay, well, I think that's all we had though for this week.
In
In
Am I wrong?
memoriam.
On me?
Am I wrong in thinking that's all we have for this week?
I think that's all we have.
Thank you for tuning in. This is
Jimmy threatened my
episode.
fucking life here on the
Oh,
podcast.
I
what
threatened your
about,
life.
Do we want to
That wasn't a
mention we
threat.
have
That was me saying. What? Anyway,
I die with these two. They did it.
do we want to mention that we have a pretty cool project coming up that we're going to be
No.
doing some
don't tease anything.
side
We're gonna.
side
you-
podcasts
Okay.
for?
Well, yeah, Sleepy John has put together some great stuff. So I mean, expect some great stuff coming in the future. I'm gonna make Nico be there for it too, though. So.
Yes.
Because I mean that's the best. So, anyways, we'll catch you guys next week. This was episode 25. Next week is 26. We also streamed on Facebook. So, hi if you see us on Facebook. We'll catch you guys next week. Thanks again. Bye now.
See ya.
They killed me.